Welcome to the Port to Port podcast with Ronan.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Port to Port podcast. I'm your host Ronan, and today I've got a really incredible guest joining me. If you've ever searched for honest travel advice on YouTube, the chances are you're going to have come across his channel with over 1.1 million subscribers, millions of views. WoltersWorld has been a go-to resource for travelers looking for tips, advice, and real talk about destinations worldwide. Please welcome the man behind the camera, Mr. Mark Wolters. How are you?
I'm doing good, Ronan. Thank you for being so nice. I need to hire you as my PR rep.
That's the Irish. We always have to big up everything.
Well, it's funny. I was doing another podcast. Like, where should people go first when leaving the U.S. or Canada? I'm like, go to Ireland. People are super friendly, super helpful, and they'll give you crap, but they'll be fun about it. So
yeah,
I
and it's
appreciate it, buddy.
I think there's a lot of history obviously between Ireland and America, and I love going over to the States, and I think being in Ireland here, there's a lot of tourists from the States come over here, and I think there's just a massive connection between the two countries.
Oh yeah. I don't know anybody that's gone to Ireland and not had a great time.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think it's the same for me. Whenever I've gone to America, I've gone to the East Coast, I've gone to the West Coast, and I've never kind of gone in where are you in Illinois, is it?
Yeah. A little bit south of Chicago.
All right, okay. I've not gone to that part yet, but I hope to try and see, I like going over and trying to explore as much as I can possibly explore in America, because I love all the history and stuff like that.
Well, if you come over to Route 66, let me know and I can meet you.
That's what I would, like a couple of years ago, I said to my friend, I was like, I really want to do Route 66. And he was just like, oh, I don't know if it's for me. And there's a lot of, I've been to the end of Route 66, but I'd love to do the whole thing. I think it would be amazing. So I suppose, Mark, for people who aren't familiar with you, could you give us a quick intro into what your channel is all about?
So what I focus on is honest travel advice. And it's not me running around with a floppy hat and a flowy dress going, aren't I cool? It's more geared for people that you don't have time to watch 500 videos about a destination. You want to watch one or two videos that are going to give you the best advice to give you the best cultural experience when you go places. So we'll focus on the do's and don'ts of going to places, culture shocks, mistakes tourists make, scams. So it's those kind of things. So it's very much more of an educational experience versus oh, look at this cool thing here, or here's this newest restaurant. I'll help you know if you're going to go to Rome, this is what you should eat. And you should find a place that has it versus, doing the Anthony Bourdain, go to this one restaurant and have this one thing. No. I want you to teach you more about the culture you go to enjoy it more. Because otherwise everyone goes to the same restaurant, goes to the same hotel. No. I want you to learn about the culture, meet the people. And so I help give people the skills to do it on their own.
Yeah, no, I think I had reached out to you before going to Marrakesh back in November, because I'd never been there before. I'd watched your videos and I was kind of I just wasn't sure what to expect. So I think I had messaged you and to be fair, you'd messaged me back and you kind of gave me some tips again about different places and things like that. So we've been going back for ages already. But yeah, no, it was good, because that's what I like about your videos. And it's just that anytime I go somewhere brand new that I've never ever been before, the first thing it's okay, we need to see is WoltersWorld got a video. Have they gone there? And let's see what we can do, and let's see what the tips are and stuff like that. Even for the Irish, I watched some of your Irish ones as well. And let's see what they're saying about Ireland. And
I got new Ireland ones coming out soon.
Oh,
so,
nice. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, because it's always nice to see, because when I go away, and last year I was away I had 5 different trips last year. I was in South America, I was in Alaska, I was in Seattle, I was in Amsterdam, I was in London, and then I finished in Marrakesh. And a lot of people think Ireland is expensive, and you might have thought it was expensive when you came over at some points, but
Dublin. Dublin accommodation.
Yes, that's the problem. Dublin for everybody. Dublin is ridiculous. Yeah. The second that there's a concert announced or a football match or anything, the price doubles or triples. It's ridiculous.
And that's the thing is, over the years, Ireland was always the cheap destination. I told people earlier, I said, go, because a friend of this, and I'm never going to say, I say Dublin is expensive, but the rest of Ireland makes it an affordable destination, because one, there's so much you can see just for free, just going around Ireland, and you're gonna go eat anyway. You're gonna go, even if you're home, you're gonna go eat. So go eat, same price back home, but you get some like a good experience, music, the castles that are around there, the ruins, the nature. I mean, there's so much to see and do that you don't have to break your budget doing it, except when you're in Dublin.
Yeah, like the price, like I think the prices of pints and everything in Dublin are insane. Like it's like that's the unfortunate thing. Like I think our tourist board knows that that's kind of what's going on at the moment, and there's price gouging for the concerts, and like we want to try and get in as many tourists as we can, but like a lot of people aren't going to go to Dublin or if they do, they're only going to spend maybe a day or two there rather than spending a lot longer there.
Yeah, and I tell people, it's like, hey, fly into Dublin because you get great price tickets, rent the car from Dublin Airport, go around the country, explore the country, then drop a block out the airports, then take then head in with the public transportation into Dublin and spend a couple of days there, then head out. Because if you want to get out, you want to explore, you want to have your like romantic version of Ireland, you got to go and explore.
Oh yeah, like I think everybody automatically thinks Dublin is the only place. Like people in Dublin think that Dublin is the only place in Ireland to be.
It is the big city mentality. Why would I ever be here?
Yeah.
You have everything here. Like, oh,
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly their way of saying there's nothing outside of Dublin, but it's like there's a lot more to Dublin, like to Ireland than just Dublin. And the fact that you've gone out, you've come to Cork, you've seen places like you've done the Blarney Stone. There's literally so
I remember
much
I was Derry, went up I had a friend of mine. She used to work by Derry, like on the other side of the border. I go visit her, and she worked up there for years. So I go see her and her sister. We travel up there, and they're like, "What are you doing up here? Tourists don't come up here." I'm like, I got friends. They're like, "Oh, that's why." Like, you should go down. And they'd be funny because they'd be like slagging on their own like county, and they're like, "No, you need to go down there. You need to go see the cliffs. Did you see the cliffs? You haven't seen the cliffs? What the hell are you doing here? Get out of here."
Yeah, it's like that. Like that's what I like about Ireland. It's just like everyone's like, no, you don't need to stay here. Go somewhere else. It's like it's easier to. There's more things to see in this place than there is here. And except
that's
in Dublin.
That's why I tell people to go, because the locals are so helpful. Like it's almost to a fault. They're like, no, this place got the better pint. This place for this. If you're gonna get the seafood stew, okay, you need to go here for that because that's the bomb. But be there like at this time. If you go later, I mean, there's one. We were in Cork, and I can't remember the name of the restaurant now we went to, and like. I had one I wanted to go to, and I was talking to the concierge there, and it was, they were from there, and they're like, okay, that's a good one, but this is when I go with my mom. I'm like, oh, really? Mom goes there. I'm listening. Listen, I think they were like, they're like in their 30s, so I know mom's like in their probably 60s, so it's like, mom's not messing around. Like, mom's like, no, I get the good stuff, and that's it. So I was like, thank you, good friend.
Yeah, no, it's like I think as well even for foodies coming over to Ireland now, I think the food has improved vastly over the last 15 years, especially here.
Oh yeah, like my first love and hates of Ireland video I had, one of the hates is the food, and I refilmed it a few years ago when I was back, and now one of the loves is the food, because like Ireland was one of the first countries to really go with the foodie revolution that we can with the fusions and like let's do the farm to table, everything is like just changed everything. And then I always like, wait a minute. Everywhere you go in the world, you find an Irish pub and you want to eat their food. Whenever you're homesick, it doesn't matter from the U.S., Canada, Ireland, Italy, wherever. Everyone likes to go to the Irish pub. I'm like, so the food was never bad. We just didn't really market it well. And now you're like, but now, I mean, now it's totally cool. Like you'll see, like we'll go over. I'm like, oh yes. I'm like making a list, checking it twice, make sure I eat every bite.
Because I think even for like the States, I think I read recently with the whole thing with what's going on with Trump and all the changes and stuff like that and the tariffs. I think Ireland is like one of the biggest importer of like food and some drinks and things like that to America at the moment as well. I think so. There's quite a lot of stuff going in there at the moment.
Irish dairy. Like I live in a small town in the middle of nowhere, and I can get good Irish dairy like butter and cream here, and liquor. So. But no, I mean, and before we're talking like 5-7 years ago, I'd never see, Irish butter. I was like, oh, we go to Chicago and I go to, the Irish market and I have that. Now it's like, dude, like the local grocery store, like regional grocery store carries some of the stuff. So that's really gotten big.
Yeah. Like the first time I went to America was my dad his sister lives in North Carolina. So I was 10 when I first went to North Carolina. And back then we used to have to bring so much stuff. Because they bring this, we need the butter, we need the tea, we need there was literally their suitcase was full of all the stuff because my aunts and all my cousins were like, oh, we need all the Irish stuff to come over. It's insane. But now you can kind of get it a lot easier than what it was like back then.
Oh yeah, like I remember because I first started all my traveling like in the 90s, and it'd be like I would eat something, I would be leaving like, I may never have this again in the rest of my life. And now I'm like, oh, Amazon's got that. Boom.
Yeah, it's
If
crazy.
I want to feel special, I go to Amazon.ie and I'll be like, oh, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I suppose, Mark, what made you start WoltersWorld in the first place?
I always loved traveling. And when I was a kid, I was an exchange student in Finland and where else? In Australia in high school. Then in college, I went to Austria and Argentina. And then I did my master's in Germany. I did my PhD in Portugal. I worked in Lithuania. Like, travel is just one of these things. Like, my dad worked in Mexico and Korea for years and stuff. So, like, it's always been, like, there, right? But the videos, where it really came from, like, I started making videos for a lot of different things. One, my now wife of many years together, she's my fiance, and she was going to move to Portugal. I was doing my PhD there. And it's like, she'd move to Portugal, be with me. I'm like, I want to get you ready. So I started making like language videos, like, here's Portuguese food words. And I would film it in the market by my apartment. So like, so you know the food you're going to see. So it was like helping her out. And I was making videos and I was teaching. I was doing my PhD, so I had to teach when I was doing that. And where I was teaching, like, everything had to be taught in English. Like, they're very strict. Like, this international school, it's got to be in English. But I speak very fast and not everyone's a native speaker. So I started making YouTube videos to help my students out as well. Like, yeah, and so like they could listen to it like, hey, look, I know I speak fast, but for the exam, I would watch these 10 videos, okay? And so and I had one guy, like a Spanish exchange student, he was spending a semester there. He's like, I drove home and I listened to your YouTube videos like at half speed, and I know I'm ready for the exam. And I'm like, that's cool. And I was like, this is a really great way to meet. But this is like 2007, 2008 when I first started making videos. Like, YouTube was brand new. And that's why I really like the OG travel thing. Is like, that was the thing. And then when it got to like the love and hates and really travel advice stuff, that started like WoltersWorld officially like was born like in April of 2009 on YouTube. But like the idea behind it started earlier because I remember I went to Italy and I bought a guidebook it was like the Veneto region, so by Venice. And I looked at the guidebook and it was like the first city they have on there, and it was not in alphabetical order. It was like this one city, and it's like, oh, the piazza is so fantastic. It takes you to medieval Europe, and the plaza, right? The piazza there. Then the castle is just amazing. It's a palace, blah, blah, blah. And all the museum has got some of the best art in Europe. I'm like, wow, this sounds great. And I show my Italian friends, and remember, their families have been there for, I don't know, 700 years in the same area. I'm like, wow, we've never gone. And they're like in their 30s and 40s. And they're like, we've never gone. I'm like, that should have been a red flag. Wait, they've never gone and their family's been there for hundreds of years. And it was so funny because they're like, hey, Mark, if you go and it's cool, we'll go this week with you too. Because they read it like, this sounds great. I go there, the piazza that takes you back to medieval Europe markets. Yeah, it's a parking lot during the week. It's only Saturdays that has that. The palace, basically, it was closed for renovations, and the museum really didn't have much to see. And I'm like, this isn't right. And I was thinking my friends back in the U.S., they got like, 10 days of vacation. Like literally that's what they get when they first start out. And I'm like, this isn't right. This could be somebody's one trip to Europe in their entire life. And if they had this guidebook, they'd go there. I think they need to spend 2 or 3 days there. And that place was like maybe 2 hours. And I just remember how upset I was for those travelers that, like, I remember I took my aunt went to Europe once. I took my aunt to Europe when she was probably like 60, 65. And like everything she saw was just amazing. Didn't matter where we went, it was something new. And she's like, it's my one chance in my life to do this. And I was like, okay. And so, and I saw that in her, and I could see the disappointment that people would have. Like this, I see people like, I hated Europe. I hated my trip there. I'm like, because they went to Venice and they had overpriced tourist food and it was packed.
Yeah.
And then they went to Paris, and then in Paris they ate like at the Eiffel Tower, so they overcharged them. Like I can see it. Like I was like, I don't want that to happen to people. I want people, if they get one shot, I want them to like really enjoy it and see those things. And so we started making these videos, the love and hates. Because if you look online, most of the stuff is like, oh, everything is perfect here, everything is wonderful. Look at my TikTok that in the 30 seconds I make it seem great. Yeah, 30 seconds, even I could be sexy. I could be a thirst trap, on TikTok if you want. Here, let me stitch that together, please. And I'm just like, that's not right. And so that's when I really went. It's like, no, I want to make content that's going to help people travel honestly. So I started making these 5 things you love and hate, because I talk the good and the bad. And that really kind of resonated with people. And so I've always promised myself, I will always be honest in my reviews. I will not sugarcoat anything. I will not do videos about places I don't go. So people write me about a destination like, hey, I've not personally been there, so I'm not going to give you advice. But I have friends that have gone. I can recommend those videos from him. Or I can. I'm like, I don't feel good. So that was one of my big things. Like, I want to make sure it's like from me, and it's helping people out. So that's what kind of started. And over the years, it started with the 511 hates, and then that was like the more serious ones. And then I went to like culture shocks, which was like 10 shocks of going places, which is the fun kind of things, right? And then the big one, we went the don'ts. And so many people watch our don'ts of travel videos. They get mad. I was so upset. I was coming out here to say bad things about Ireland. But I realized you're actually very kind. It's more like do's, but you put it in an adult way. I'm like, yeah, because negativity is what people watch. And so from there, that was the mistakes. So I have like different kind of things to help people out. Like, look, if you can only watch one video, watch our don'ts. If you want to know some other little mistakes, mistakes. If you want to know the culture better, watch the shocks. And then follow up with the 511 hates. And that kind of like has grown over the years. And that's a really long answer to a short question. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's what I love. That like there's just so much to your videos. Like I suppose even when we were going to Venice a couple of years ago. We were going on a cruise, but we were staying in Venice for a few days before the cruise went. And what we found was everywhere that we went to, it was just like pure like. You'd go to where all the people are. You'd go to where, like, they were telling you all the touristy places to go to. So, like, what we were doing, we did a lot of research beforehand, and we were like, okay, where can we go that's not touristy? Where can we eat that's not touristy? And we started getting, like, we found places that were, like, where our hotel was kind of just maybe a 2 or 3 minute walk from behind St. Mark's Square. It was it was in a good enough location. It was kind of central. But, like, we never ate in St. Mark. And I was just looking at them as I was walking past. I was like, oh, my God, you must be spending so much money just to sit there for, like, a crap meal, more than likely.
Yeah.
Like, we were eating, like, fresh pasta where the locals eat around the corner down some alley for, like, 3 or 4 euros, where, like, just because you're on this part. Yeah, look at it. It's amazing. And you're getting amazing views with your dinner, but you're getting screwed over with so much like cost for when you don't need it. Like,
yeah, and that's what I tell a lot of people. Like, if you could see the famous site, you're gonna pay too much. I mean, but sometimes it's worth it to pay for the site. Like, I've sat, like, my wife's birthday one year, we were in Venice, and I'm like, we could have some ice cream and a drink here for the Piazza Market. We're not gonna eat. We'll have because sometimes it's worth, like, you go to Prague and the old town square is gorgeous, but they're gonna rip you off with the beer. Like, you got to make sure you pour. I went, this exact beer for this price. I took a picture of it. This is the one right here.
Yeah.
Because they'll come up with something else. Like, oh, I thought that you wanted the unfiltered fancy beer. I'm like, no, dude, I don't want the 3 times the price one. And so what I always tell people is like, look, you see a site, walk 2 blocks to the left where you can't see the site. Price goes down and flavor goes up.
100%. Yeah, like that. We've started doing that now in a lot of places. We're going to Japan. It's our next big place. We're going to Japan. Yeah, I can't wait. Like, we're going on a cruise for 12 nights, but we're going to Tokyo for a week so that we can like explore as much of that as we can. And
yeah, you'll need a week.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we were just like, we need to give ourselves that much time to like take in as much as we can.
Yeah, I would say when you go to Tokyo, go by neighborhood. Don't try to, because it's like you're like, oh yeah, it's like the biggest city in the world. Like, no, you don't understand. It's like, it's big cities within another big city, within another, like each neighborhood is like each city, It's not like, oh, well, Dublin's big. No, Dublin's like the little tiny neighborhood where they go, oh, isn't that cute? Like kind of stuff when you're looking at Tokyo. Yeah. So like, just to save yourself the time, and you could really, because sometimes stuff you have to realize, like in Japan, there's a street you go to and it literally just has the plastic version of the food. And you'll go see, like, they'll make like Scooby-Doo sandwiches, like 19 levels, or they'll have the wok going and have like a wave of rice, but it's all plastic. It's I recommend one of the coolest souvenirs to bring back home is like getting one of those and you making it at home with the wax and everything. It actually is pretty cool.
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, that we're going in August, so we've plenty of time now to watch loads of videos, try and see where we're going to go. Like one of the, we like to go to Disney and all the places that we go to. So what's crazy about it is, from what I've read, this Disney in Japan seems to be probably one of the cheapest in the world, apparently. Yeah. I'll believe it when I go
especially
there.
Now, because the yen, the euro and the dollar are so much stronger than the yen. I mean, if you would have gone 5 years ago, it would not have been this cheap. Like just from the currency exchange rate. That's why Japan's become so popular the last couple of years. It's just because it's got the exchange rates made it such more of an affordable place to go.
Yeah, like I think when we were originally we were supposed to fly with British Airways, but it didn't work out. So I had spoken to the hotel and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna come in. We're getting in really early." And I was like, "I want to check in early." And they were like, "Okay, but you're gonna have to pay like an early booking
The
fee."
day
I was like,
before.
yeah, I said that's fine. And I was like, "How much is it?" And he was like, "Oh, it's 1,000 yen." And I was like, "Okay." And I looked, it was like €5. I was like, "That's grand, whatever."
You're like,
Yeah,
okay,
if I
maybe
have
we'll get
to.
2 rooms. I snore. So,
Yeah, no, it's I was just like, no, that's cool, that's cool, there's no issues. But it's like, yeah, it's going to be fun. Like that's we had 5 big holidays last year, but this one is 3 weeks of, so it's a
oh,
lot of
nice.
planning. Yeah, so there's a lot, like, because we go to Busan in South Korea as well on the cruise. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so we're that's what I like about cruising, because you get to go to places that you mightn't necessarily go. Okay, I'm going to go fly to South Korea. So it's
Yeah.
like you've got a
They can
chance to
just
kind
add it
of,
in there.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
cool that way. So it's like it was the same when we went to, when I say we, I'm saying me and my wife. When we went to Brazil this year, it was like we kind of did give ourselves enough time. We flew to Brazil. We like it was a 14-hour flight from London. We got to Sao Paulo. We spent the day in the hotel because we were so tired. Then that night we had carnival. Following day we had to get up, go 2.5 hours to the cruise port. Then we had to wait like 6 hours to get onto the boat. And like we literally did this the 7-night cruise, got back to the airport, flew, and went straight up. We had 8 nights and that was it.
Yeah, that's tough.
It was intense. It was intense, like, because, and especially with the heat as well. Like we were taking off down the runway, and it was more. I've never seen a lightning storm as bad as. I was like, he's not going to take off, and I was like, oh no, we are going to take off, and you're just going down the runway, lightning going off all around. You're like, oh Jesus, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's different. It's different over here.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's like we get it, like we had a storm a couple of weeks ago, and it was a red warning for the whole of Ireland, which meant
Yeah.
everybody had, yeah, like everybody had to shut down.
What does that mean though? Like for me, because like we'll have like those lightning storms in Brazil. We have those all the time here. Like that's like, oh, it's spring, and we'll like literally go outside and watch the lightning. Like we're in school, we'll just sit there. But I remember like when I was living in Lithuania, they still like, oh, lightning bolt. And they're like, oh my god. I'm like, what? We gotta go inside. I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, don't go in the water, but why are we going inside? Look at it, because they just like we have such bigger storms in Brazil. I mean, it's like when you see those like inspirational posters, it has like the lightning crackling. Yeah, that not all the time, but yeah, it's like a normal thing. But yeah,
like,
I know exactly I know exactly what you're talking about with that. You're like, oh
yeah, like, but it like over here we get like a bit of wind, and it's like, okay, we have to shut down the whole country, and it's just, like we went into a red. Now, in saying that, we got probably the highest winds on record this year in Ireland with this storm that we had, and there was it took 2 weeks to get the power back for lots and lots of people. There was over 100,000 homes without power for ages.
oh wow,
They weren't prepared for the level that it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it was bad, but I think at the same time, if that was another country, you just kind of get on with your kind of day, and
Yeah.
like over here, everything it's crazy. It's the same way. If it snows here, we shut down as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it's all about the infrastructure. Like where I live, we have like 40-mile-an-hour winds. So what is that? Like 65 kilometers an hour winds. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll bring the cushions in from the back chairs. You know, like they're like, oh, be careful. I'm like, if you have a high-profile vehicle, I'm like, all right, so we'll take the car, not the SUV. Like it's like I said, you know, it's weird because like, but how things are kind of set up, the infrastructure make a huge difference. Where it's, you know, it's like you know, when they have like we were driving to the south of the U.S. and they had literally like we're talking like 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters of ice, and everything shut down because they didn't have the salt, they didn't have the cinders, they don't have anything to scrape it. Whereas here, like I can literally go to the grocery store and it's like, oh, would you like some Twinkies and Snickers? And here's some road salt as well. But they didn't have it. So like just didn't have the infrastructure. So it can really have a huge impact. I think if you're traveling, it's something you need to think about when you're going to these places different times of year where you think it's no big deal. Yeah, like you may drive, like if you're from Finland, you're used to driving the snow and ice, but when no one else has been, when they get just a little bit of snow, doesn't matter that you know how to drive, they're going to run into you. So
Yeah, like that happened a couple of years ago. We had what they called the beast from the east. So we got like so much snow, and it's just funny, you know, that's what, like, anytime there's like this big weather phenomenon, that it has to get a big name put on it.
oh yeah,
Like,
And
shut down the
the
country again.
meteorology people, like, they've gotten into marketing the last, I don't know, 5-10 years. Like, everything is like, we have to put a name with them. Like, it's a snowstorm. The snowstorm doesn't need to have a name. It's Eddie the Bird. Like, oh, brother.
Yeah, like like again, when that happened, we don't have snow plows. We don't have all the salt that's required.
Yeah.
The roads don't get gritted. Like there's just so much stuff. Now, over the last couple of years, they've kind of got a bit better. There is more plows and they get gritters to go out. Like our more dangerous things in the winter is if the temperature drops to below 0, and then the roads become a small bit dangerous because it's a bit icy and stuff. But generally, the main roads are fine. It's if you're on a country road and you're doing 80 kilometers an hour on like at the world's most dangerous country road, then it's just like, okay.
Yeah, you got problems anyway. You got problems anyway.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Like, so I suppose with WoltersWorld, it's been around for years. What were the early days like? Did you ever see like, or did you ever think it was going to be this, like as big as it is now today?
No, I never. I remember when I started, I would just try, because I was just making the videos for like my wife to help her get ready. And then, it's like, oh, people, I mean, here's silly me. Oh, people are going to go travel. So they'll want to speak the language of the country they're going to. So I would make language videos like, oh, words you need to know, like 10 words you should know in Spanish and German and Italian. And then I'd make it in other languages in the beginning. And like our first big like fan group was German tourists that wanted to learn English, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. So I would actually teach it in German. For that, and that was like our first big, like, if you look at our first couple of years, like Germany was our #1 audience, and then over time, I would make it in Spanish for the other language, in Italian, the other language, Portuguese, in English. And then I came to like, I looked at the numbers, like, it looks like only Germans want to learn the language of where they're going. No one else cares, So it's like, all right, let's forget the language videos. And then, maybe like, I just making like top 10 lists, try that out. And, no one really got that. And then when I got to those love and hates one, that really resonated with people. Like, you know what? I'd like to know more culture stuff. And so, that really took off. But I remember a friend of mine, and this is years ago. It's probably 10, 12, 14. You're like, this is like where we hadn't made anything yet. I don't even know we're making money yet. And he's like, Mark, why would someone watch a fat, bald guy when they can watch some pretty lady in a bikini? And I was like, ouch. But yeah, why is that? And then it was like, why? Because I'm giving actually really good advice. And that was one thing I knew about the internet from the beginning. And you don't have to be a model to make it. If you have good information, you're helping people. People appreciate people that generally want to help. And I generally want to help people travel better. I think that's one thing that's kind of resonated through us throughout the years. It's like, I'm not trying to scam you. I'm not like, oh, I really love this video game. I really love this product, though it's total BS. Like I've seen it with like, this is our favorite cereal. Like, no, it's not. Come on. Like, I mean, I understand why influencers do that. You got to pay the bills. And we do some, but it's always got to be something that relates. Like Rosetta Stone, I work with them, and Ford, I work with them because yes, I actually own a Ford, and yes, I did use Rosetta Stone, so it's like a legit thing. But sometimes I get kind of like turned off when it's like, oh, you have a new favorite city in Mexico, and like, oh, this is sponsored by Town X. You're like, oh, and it's like, can I really trust anything you say? And so that's one thing I've really prided myself on is like just the honesty and like, look, I got to tell the honest truth. And if you don't want the honest truth, we're not going to work with you. I'm just going to go anyway and make a video about your town or your country or whatever. And we'll go do that.
No, that's cool. Yeah, no, I like that. Like I don't like the falseness that there is behind some people's, like, it's like, you're going to pay me all this money. I'm going to tell everyone it's the best thing in the world. And they're just like, no, it's not. It's not the best thing in the world.
And believe me, my checkbook hurts because of that. My bank account is like, we don't make, like, I know what other people are making, and I'm like, yeah, we're not making anything near that because sponsorship deals are like, that is a really big part of a lot of influencers, and we don't really get much of it because I want to be like, look, no one wants another commercial. They want honest reviews. And like, if you work with us, I'm like, I want to say the good and the bad, but I want to be honest. And that actually works better than the ad stuff. But of course, execs never want to have anybody say anything bad. I'm like, no, occasionally it does rain in Ireland. No, it doesn't rain every day. And I've actually gotten sunburned in Ireland. It happens. It does happen. Like, we've got to put a little extra cream on our polically challenged heads when we go out in the summertime. But like, they're like, no, you can't tell. Like, then we can't work together. So.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So like, I suppose, what's the process like making one of your videos? Do you put a lot of plans into it beforehand, or is it more spontaneous on the spot when you're there?
It's actually a bit of both. So the destination we're going to, I will do a ton of research. I will watch tons of videos. I will go through hundreds of blogs. I will go if you ever watch our lives, I'm usually in our library. I have a wall of like lonely planets and all these things. Like I will go if I have friends that are from that country. I'm like, hey, is there anything I need to know? Like we're going to Albania, and there was a student at the university I'm from who's from Albania. He's like, I heard you're going to go. I'm like, I talked about it on live. He's like, I know, I watched, and I knew that you worked here, so I want to tell you. And so he came in and we talked for like an hour about what it's like in Albania, what you should look out for, what I should eat. He's like, but my grandma's was the best. I'm like, of course. And I'll say hi to your grandma in the video. Like, these kind of things. And that really kind of is one of those things you just kind of win with. So anyway.
That's good. And like, what do you think, I suppose, as you said earlier, the Love and Hate series that you kind of did, like, what do you think some of your most popular and surprising kind of videos are in relation to those ones?
So with so going back to thinking, like, so I do the prep work, and then when I don't film when I first get there, I'm there for a while, and then I see what else came in. Like, what are the other things? Because like people's experiences are really different, and mine is not that. So why regurgitate what other people have? And so I'll do that. And so one of the things that I find is when I'm there, the don'ts I get when I'm like in there. Like I know that people didn't talk about it, like I'm like, not that they didn't talk about it, but like my experiences with it, I think that's what really adds to the kind of specialness of it. Because like, wait, he's actually there. He's actually seen it. And with all the research I do beforehand, a lot of it's culture based. And so there'll be jokes, like country specific jokes that people don't always catch. It's like, like the joke is, the different places you go, like some places, like I always like to talk about like the clean plate club, like who eats all the food, who doesn't, when are you going to be rude? And you don't really think about that, but some places, oh no, you're going all in. Otherwise you're not. It's like some people, like they don't realize, like you go to Ireland, America, if anyone has a drop virus blood, they're like, oh, Irish. I'm like, yeah, no, you're Irish American, dude. Like, no, my family came. Like, your family came over. I think in one of my newer videos that's coming out, it's like, if you weren't bred, bled, or born in Ireland, you're not Irish. You're Irish American. And for a lot of people, they get kind of upset with it. Like, no, like this isn't about you. This is about them and their experience. And that's where we get a lot of support from the locals. And actually, like the Don'ts of Ireland video, the number one country that watches it? Ireland.
But that's
number one country that watches the Don'ts of Morocco? Morocco. And these are the things that are there. And that's why I feel like I've really done a good job when locals are like, hey, that's exactly right. And of course, it's all people that are like, I've never seen that happen. It's rained every day of my life in Ireland. You can't say it was sunny. Like there'll always be people like that, but I'm like, and generally you see when it's like legit people and you're like, hey, I thank you for what you said about our country. It was like actually good. I mean, I've had nice things said to me about England. So don't hate me. Don't hate me for this. But I did a recent video of like I did a new Love and Hates about England. And I start like showing things I love about England. Like the intro's like love, 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 and then people are like, it's really nice to have like a positive, like thing about England for the first time in a long time, even though I went love, 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 but there's things I hate, and they're like, they appreciated both sides of the story. And I think that's what's resonated. But I think when I first started realizing that those like, hey, going deeper into the culture stuff could work, it was actually, I did a culture shocks when you go to China. I was teaching in China, this is like 10, 12 years ago. And I was teaching there for the summer, and I made just culture shocks things that we noticed. And that was people like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, wait, I could teach people about these culture shocks to help people understand that culture better. It's like, you'll see these things throughout history, people don't understand, like Khrushchev, like holds up his shoe and like, no, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but people think it's a bad thing. Because you got a shoe, it's bad, and I was like, if I can help educate people that way, I can help them understand the culture, we can bring us together, And so that's been something I've kind of pushed. There's been a lot of videos that have done that. And I really like now I work on my day job. I'm a university professor, and I'll have students that'll see me around the university like, hey, I watched your videos in junior high, because a lot of geography teachers were using our videos to teach the culture because there's nothing out there talking about. Now there's tons of stuff out there, but at the time there wasn't. And that was kind of cool how it kind of grew. But what really was like when I started making those don'ts videos, that's when it went from like, hey, we're getting views to like, oh my gosh, like this could be a career kind of stuff.
Oh, and like, did you ever get like much backlash from the don't videos from like local people, or like, apart from, like, obviously you were saying like people going, oh no, it does rain in Ireland and all that kind of, but like,
we've had like, I had one. I mean, we've had death threats. We've had people. I mean, the internet can be really bad. So we had those. I didn't really believe really much of them, but I remember I was filming in Hamburg once, and someone's like, if we see this guy, we're going to get, I was like filming in Hamburg, and I'm like looking around. Like, you watched my Hamburg 10 years ago, I'm like looking around when things are there, because I was like, that's why one of the reasons I never say where we are at the time. Like I film and then put the videos out, because there's been bad stories of YouTubers that's happened to. So that was kind of like, that was a little scary. Like, and there was one, I did a parody video of like American Idiot, but it was Portuguese Idiot, but I sang it in Portuguese. It was on the news in Portugal, like all kinds of stuff. This guy's like, he's like, you deserve the same fate as Saddam Hussein.
Oh, jeez.
Like, where Saddam Hussein got, I'm like, and I wrote like, dude, this was a parody joke. He ended up becoming a really big fan, but I was like, he was so mad. And I'm like, oh man. And like my wife, she doesn't make videos very often anymore because, I mean, I feel sorry for female YouTubers because the comments and the stuff they get is horrible. And so my wife's like, I don't want to be a part of these. Like, I'll be in the video, but I'm not going to talk because she gets so much like anger at her. And I'm like, I'm so used to it now. And maybe it's been since 2007 or 8. I've been making videos in WoltersWorld 2009. I'm like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Just got to like roll with it. But yeah, there's sometimes it's been a little, like there's been sometimes, but in general, people are very supportive. And even people are like, hey, you know what? I don't necessarily agree with everything you say, but you do make some valid points. I'm like, and then that's what I tell people. It's like, look, that's just my opinion. It's my experience. This is all based on my experience. That's why I never film in a place I don't go. It's on my experience there, me being there. So it's not me making anything up. And that's where I think it works better than someone saying, well, like they do the AI voice over top. Why Eastern Europe is better than Western Europe? And it's like, oh my God, you're walking in the rain again, like with some.
Yeah.
It's not even you. Is it AI? What's going on?
Yeah, no, I totally get. Yeah, there's just a lot of people who have got nothing better to do with their time than bitch and moan at people online behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Like, and I'll be honest, like I have other channels I just make for fun, and I'm like, how did you find this like 100 person just to like comment garbage? I'm like, come on, there's better things to do in your life.
Yeah, 100%. It's ridiculous. It's like go out and live it a bit and stuff. So I suppose like what are the biggest mistakes that you can kind of see some travelers making like on your travels?
Well, I think a lot of it just comes down to the not doing your research. Like when it comes to safety, scams, sites, where to stay, they just don't know. They don't know to look, or they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go and I'll figure out when I'm there. And I'm like, even if you're like you plan your ticket and buy your tickets and you get your hotel room and you're like, I'll figure out when I'm in Paris. Well, if you don't know that the Louvre's closed on Tuesday, you might have planned for that, or, it's like when people go and they travel and they sleep until 1. I'm like, you're going to get in one museum. You need to get up early to do these things because everything's closed at 5 or 6. It's like you're going to Ireland, you're not shopping at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. in the small towns. They're like, oh, why not? I'm like, and that's where I see a lot of people getting upset. That's why a lot of our videos, I will listen. Like when I go around, I listen to the tourists. And I'll listen to what they're complaining about. And I'm like, in Portugal, people are always complaining. I had to pay for the bread and butter, and they'd like let that ruin their fantastic time in Portugal. So I'm like, hey, if I could let them know that, now it's no longer a surprise. Like, oh, something to watch out for. Oh, hey, honey, if you're not going to eat the bread, don't touch it because they're going to charge you for it. Like, oh, okay. But then you'll get locals say, it's in the menu. I'm like, yeah, but nowhere else is used to paying for the bread, man. And you have it like in the back of the menu. Like, and it's only after it was brought up so many times, they make you put it in the menu. Do you know that? So there's always like both sides of it.
Yeah, and like, what would your number one like tip be for first time international travelers? We'll say if someone from America is coming up, just go. Okay, yeah.
Just go, like, because people make excuses. I have a video that's coming out like why people don't travel, and I can understand the money side of it. That is a legit thing. I mean, but I've worked with people before. Like, look, there's this one lady. I was so happy. She's like, I want to take my daughter when she graduates high school. I want to take her to Paris and go to Disneyland Paris. That is our goal. And this girl, she was 10 at the time. And this mom, she was making just above minimum wage. And I'm like, I want to help you. Like, what? And so we worked through. It's like, okay, you want to do a savings plan? We want to put it in here. We're going to do this. Yeah, it was true. And I was so happy with like, she's like, we're going. And then she never me back. She's like, we're going to Paris. She graduates. I was like so happy for her, and it's like, but it literally was like, I think it was like a 7-year thing. Like she write all the time. It's like, once a year. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting close. I've got it saved up. We're booking the tickets. It's like, that's awesome. And that's one of those things. It's like, just go if you can go. Like, but what holds people back is they'll make excuses like, oh, I'm not going to go to Ireland because I have to drive on the other side of the road. Look, you don't have to drive around. They got trains, man. They got buses. And actually, the toughest part of driving in Ireland is getting out of Dublin Airport. Once you get out of the airport, the rest of the country is easy, or they'll be like, well, I don't speak the language. Well, luckily you speak English, which is the #1 tourist language all around the world. And here's the funny thing. We have survived without speaking the same language on this planet for a long time. You're like, hungry. Clock, clock, the moo. Oh, you want a cow? Okay, there you go. You'll always find a way. And believe me, if you can't find food, there's always going to be an Irish pub that's going to serve you some Guinness and some shepherd's pie, and you'll be fine.
You're sorted. There's always going to be one somewhere.
Right.
What do you think is one travel myth that you think needs to be debunked?
That we're all so different. That is one thing I've seen everywhere in the world. Everybody has the same goals. I want my family to be happy. I want to have good food. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to have, those things are universal. And people make it seem like, no, it's such a different culture. It's such a different place. Like, oh, they'll never figure it out. And you get that a lot. Like, we're like, I'm going to go to this part of the country, this continent. Oh, I'm like, dude, you can go anywhere in the world and have a great time, be wonderful people. And you know what? Bad things can happen in every part of the world too. And that's the thing is some people I always like to say they have this myth that they go on vacation, nothing bad can happen. They put on we call it a fanny pack. I'm sure it's called something different where you are. But like the bum bag, I think, I don't know.
Bum bag, yeah.
Well, it just says, I'm a tourist, but I have my magic fanny pack and I can walk out in the middle of the traffic, circle at the Arc de Triomphe and take pictures. Like, what are you doing? Would you do that? Would you walk in the middle of your street back home? No. Why are you doing it on vacation? And then they get mad. Like one of them, like, because you were going to die. So the cow brought you back so you didn't get hit by 900 cars. So that's the like little thing I see people messing up sometimes too.
Yeah, like it's funny because like my in-laws, like we'd be telling them that, oh, we're going here. We're going, oh God, I don't know about going there now. It sounds dangerous. It's like, do you know anything about it? No, but I just know it sounds dangerous. It's just like we'd even tell them we were going to Marrakesh because we were just like, oh Jesus, they're going to lose their heads all day.
Yeah, no, it's like we went to Mexico City last week. And I'm like, we're in Mexico City, like, cartels and all. I'm like, yeah, we're staying in Roma. They're like, you're going to Rome? Like, no, Rome is a neighborhood that's like super safe. And actually it's like, you hear more English and Spanish. That's where we're staying. We're like, what? I don't know. I'm like, you haven't left your hometown in like 5 years. Like, come on, like go explore. And you can make choices. And that's the thing. It's like, if you just have your usual common sense use at home, you'll be fine pretty much 90% of the rest of the world. So don't worry.
Yeah, 100%. Like I always have a fear like of places that I'm going to, but I'm always like at the same time, I'm like, if I just watch what's going on around me, I'll probably be fine.
Yep. I think once you get past those things, you can have a great time anywhere.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. 100%. I suppose like what's one country or city where it completely exceeded your expectations?
Well, I think when we went to Rwanda, like, because I don't know how it is in Ireland, but in the U.S., the only thing we know about Rwanda was the genocide 30 years ago, right? And like, that's it. And so like, when I was preparing to go, I mean, there was like 2 blogs that were worth anything about Rwanda. Like there was nothing. So I was going there like, babe, I've got nothing. Like everything we're doing with Rwanda is from a Lonely Planet book that had like this much Rwanda in it, like, like 50 pages about the whole country. And like, that's all we got. And we went there. We had an incredible time. I took our kids were there. My parents went with us. We were there for like a week or so. Yes, a little over a week there. And it was an incredible experience. Like, and the people were so friendly. It was so nice. The experience was just incredible. I tell people all the time, go to Rwanda. Like, go to Rwanda. Like, it is worth it. And it was funny because like, we had these videos. We were like, there's nothing else out there. Because all we ever, if you search for Rwanda right now, if you're listening to this, keep the podcast going. Open up another tab. But keep us playing and look up Rwanda travel. And they just look up Rwanda and all of this is the genocide stuff. And I'll tell you, when you go there, they do not hold back the genocide. They're like, you have to talk about this stuff. And so you'll go there and they'll go to the memorials and there's like, no little kids get to come here. You got to be at least, 13 or something or 12 or whatever, different ones. And when you go into the children's part, there'll be stuff talking about how that child died. Not like, oh, Jenny was, 5. No, they'll be like, Jenny was killed like this. Like they will graphically describe it. Like if we don't, people will forget, and then it was like, oh my God. And then you're there and I'm like, this is not, I didn't know what to expect. And I was there. It was such a surprise. That's why it's Rwanda. Like my oldest son and my wife fight over who gets to go to Rwanda next. Like who gets to go first. Like that's how much we loved it.
That's amazing. Like, Jesus, I would like, obviously, yeah, it's the same here. You'd only know about the genocide side of it, but it wouldn't be a country where I go, oh my God, I want to go to Rwanda. So it's like, it's definitely something that it would definitely make you think, okay, I need to start kind of broadening my horizons a bit more and kind of looking into other places that are kind of different to where you'd normally go.
Yeah. And even it's not even that different, like here in the U.S., like people know like, oh, when I think of Mexico, they think of Cancun and they think of the cartels. If I'm not going to Cancun, I'm going to cartels everywhere. Like, go to Mexico City, you'll be fine. You'll have a great time. I was like there's so much to see when you're there.
Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. Like, and like on the flip side, is there anywhere that you went and you're just like, is that it? Like, what's going on?
Well, people that watch my videos know I'm not the biggest fan of Brussels. This is not a political statement. This is just like, as a tourist, I'm not very impressed with Brussels, but I think it's not Brussels' fault. I think it is because whenever in the U.S., the news that comes in, they're like, yeah, it's from Europe. We're at Brussels, where the European Union is based. And so you're like, oh, it's the capital. It must have all kinds of things to see and do, and it's amazing because it's the European capital, right? You're like, that's the mindset. So you're like, oh, it's like, and live from London, live from Paris, live from Brussels. And you're like, no, if you kind of like knock Brussels down like 20 spots in your mind, then it's fine. But I remember going there, I'm like, this is it. Like, okay, the square was really cool. The museums were okay. Like, the car museum was cool. And I'm like, and then I remember like looking for the mannequin piss. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? And I'm like walking down the street. I see all these people looking backwards. I'm like, oh my God, it is life size. It is the size of a 1-year-old child. And if you're not sure how big 1-year-old child is, they're very small. And I'm like, that's it. And you could literally see like the disappointment come over people's faces when they'd see it. Like, oh, I said the last few times I've gone, I've taken students there. I've taken like my family there and stuff. Cause I'm like, they got it. You got to see it. But we'll go stay in Ghent or Bruges or something like that. Cause we have better time. Like, I'm like, you got to see it. And then my kids are like, that's it. I'm like, yeah, that's it. They're like, it's so small. I'm like, yep, it works then.
Oh so, yeah, like it was. We went to Brussels 2 years ago, and it was the same thing. It's just like, oh, I need to see the mannequin piss, and then you're walking down the street, and you kind of see the crowd huddle, and you're like, oh, okay, that is it. That's literally the tiniest thing behind it.
Like, is that it? Like, I think that yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it. You're like, you're not sure. Like, like, wait. I guess I need new contact lenses or something.
It's crazy, like what draws people in as a tourist attraction. It's mental. I suppose that given like the travel industry, it's kind of changed a lot during COVID. Do you think it's kind of evolved now, like post-COVID?
You know, it's funny. The numbers are back basically to the pre-COVID levels. I think one of the problems with the over-tourism the last couple of years is just that so many restaurants went out of business, so many hotels went out of business, so much, tourism things went out of business that what would have been an infrastructure that was there that could have supported that just wasn't there. So it seemed like there was 30% more people there, but one of the numbers are pretty much the same. It just didn't have the capacity. And I think the capacity started to ramp up again, though now like people are making travel a point in their life. Whereas before it's like you went to Europe once in your life. Like my story of like my friends and family, they'd only have one chance to go to Europe. Now it's like, no, like people have a chance to go multiple times. So that's a very different kind of mentality. But people are going to a lot more different places too. And I think that's one thing to kind of avoid the over-tourism. Be more open to when you go, when you travel, but also where you travel. Because we were in Hanya on Crete this is 2023. And we were talking to some of the people that ran the apartments and stuff there. And they're like, I think we're going to leave early. Like usually we stay till early October. We might leave in the end of August. We're not getting anybody here. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I see on the news, Greece, Athens is overrun. Mykonos is overrun. Santorini is overrun. Like, yeah, but they're overrun where the influencers go. And I'm like, and I started watching the influencer stuff. Like I got out of TikTok and Instagram, like those things for a while. And like, but then I started seeing they're really good for inspiring people. But people get inspired to go to that one place to get that one shot. I'm like, look, there's more than just one good sunset or one sunrise in Greece. Like every single island has great sunsets and great, sunrises. But the thing is, they only see the Mykonos one, so I got to go to Mykonos. So I got to go to Santorini. I'm like, you got some other islands, have a good time. But when I saw that there was literally like, yeah, we're thinking about leaving like a month and a half early. It's like, dang. So I think there's ways you can get around it. Now, places like Paris, they're always going to be packed. But Paris can handle. Like Paris has been doing this for a long time. It's some of the newer places have a hard time, and so you'll see influencers popping around in different places, and that's why some influencers get paid to go places, or sometimes they get sponsored to go places. And if they can highlight the country, great. Do it. Highlight it so people can find new destinations. And that's one of the great things about this. More places to go find. And though it is sad because people are like, well, what's a hidden gem, Mark? I'm like, there are no hidden gems anymore.
No.
Like you want like there's like it's kind of out of the way so people don't go there like international tourists do, but the locals still do. Like go to Slovenia. Super awesome place. But since it's kind of like at the end of Western Europe and Italy, go to Trieste in Italy. No one goes there because it's like the end of Italy, but it's just right there. If you're in Venice, you can train, boom, right there. Trieste is great, but there's like the inconvenience. Like go to the place that's just not really inconvenient. Like when I'm talking going to Everest, But one place that's just slightly inconvenient, you'll see how many people drop off going there. So it'll be a lot less crowded.
Yeah.
So that'll give you an opportunity like this year, the next coming years. I think you're seeing a lot of pushback, like new taxes, they may not visas, but like different things that are making it more expensive. Because what really makes me sad is like Ryanair and EasyJet and Spirit Airlines, those low-cost airlines, they made travel possible for everyone. And what kind of is sad is these destinations, they're like, no, we don't want those tourists.
Yeah.
If you've got money and you're going to go to the expensive restaurants, you're going to spend a lot of money here, then we want you. But, oh, you're just a normal everyday person that makes minimum wage and you want to go have a vacation, and they're like throwing them away. Like those people deserve to see Amsterdam. They deserve to see Venice too. Just because they can't afford €100 deal, like meal, and they can only afford going to Aldi, doesn't mean they don't have a right to go see these places. And I think that's where you're going to see some kind of balancing act going on in some countries and some locations.
Yeah, 100%. Like, just in relation, I suppose, as well to what you were saying with the TikTokers and the Instagram people that are using Instagram a lot. Do you think with like the likes of the Reels now, do you think that like long form YouTube videos kind of is still as relevant because of the fact that you've got people with their like 60-second video reels that a lot of people use?
I think it's changing a lot. If you look at the numbers, young people like TikTok and Instagram are for inspiration. And now TikTok and Instagram are letting you have longer videos. So TikTok and Instagram have the opportunity to grow and be like, hey, we can do more stuff to inform people, but it's more of an entertainment platform. So it's inspiration. That's cool. That's cool. And I'm seeing people like doing the research. Yeah, the long forms, they're not as popular as they used to be. But for the people that want to be prepared, they're the best way to learn. Because YouTube is more of an educational platform than a instant entertainment platform. Even if they have their shorts kind of stuff that are like Reels or like TikTok. So they both have their place because you need to be inspired, but also you need to be prepared. So
I get what you're saying. Okay, so Mark, we'll do a quick fire round, okay? So I'm just going to ask you to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Window seat
favorite
or
podcast runnings.
window seat or aisle seat?
Aisle seat every time. I could lay my fat tummy out the side, not annoy the people in the middle.
No, I can't. I have to have I like looking out, even though I can't see anything. It's like I have to be looking out. Okay, one travel item that you've never leave home without.
Pack of Uno cards, because you can always make friends with that.
I like it. Best street food you've ever had?
The best street food. Okay, I have no idea what it was, and I got sick from it like 15 times. But when I was teaching in China, this guy had, like, I'd walk over the street on my, like, the walkover bridge. I'd come down, there'd be a dude that would literally have his motorcycle there and have, like, a thing of oil, and he would make this, like, wrap that had an egg in the bread wrap, and then he'd put whatever inside. It was, like, the tastiest thing ever. But I knew I had 15 minutes before I would, like, almost die. And my wife's like, why do you keep getting them? Because it's that good. It is that good. I don't care. It was so amazing. It was just basic. I mean, it'd be kind of like an egg, like a pancake with an egg and some meat in it and some veggies and stuff and pickled stuff in there. And then like this one hot sauce in there. And it was just so good. Like, I have no idea what it was. And this was like, 12 years ago. Like, I wasn't taking pictures of it. I think I may have one picture of it. I'm like, but it was so good. I'm like, I don't care. No. I was like, don't care. That was amazing. Probably one of my favorite ones ever. I can't go wrong with that.
That is brilliant. I think I know the answer to this one already, but the most overrated tourist attraction.
The mannequin piss.
Your favorite underrated city.
My favorite underrated city would be either Ljubljana in Slovenia. Like, that's a really underrated one. Or if you want to go to like around the world, Ouro Preto, Brazil. It was the colonial capital of where the mines were, because Minas Gerais, the General Mines, is named the state. And that was the capital when the Portuguese were there. And so it has this incredible architecture, the best food in Brazil. And Brazil's got fantastic food, but I would say Ouro Preto, if you're going down there, that's just unbelievable.
Okay. The one country every traveler should visit at least once.
Ireland, of course.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. Is there anywhere else? Like, why leave?
No.
I don't know why you leave so many times.
I had Ireland afterwards. I was like, he's definitely going to say Ireland. Your dream destination that you've not been to yet?
Egypt.
Oh, yeah. That's up on mine as well, yeah. it's high up. It's high up there. What's the best airport and the worst airport you've been through?
The worst is Chicago O'Hare. I literally pay $200 or $300 extra just not to fly through there, because whenever I go through, it's always something. Like we had a direct flight to Mexico City for our Mexico City stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, we're getting in early, and they announced we arrived 30 minutes early with Aero Mexico welcome. I'm like, yeah, but just cheer. We get to the gate and everything's unlocked. We stand up, and they're like, unfortunately, there's a problem with the jetway. And so we sat for 30, 40 minutes. I'm like, O'Hare. But it was funny because my youngest son, we used to fly through O'Hare a lot back in the day before we got to the point we could not fly through O'Hare. And it was just a little bit more. We'd go to our local airport where we didn't have to pay for parking. So it's free parking. We had to connect through Atlanta all the time, but whatever, But my youngest son, he's 13. It's like, he doesn't remember back when we used to do O'Hare all the time. He's like, I liked O'Hare. It was nice. I'm like, no, dude, you like the newly renovated Terminal 5 in O'Hare. That is totally different than O'Hare. My favorite one, I surprisingly liked Riga and Copenhagen. They're very efficient restaurants. Riga, what I liked about Riga, I could have traditional Latvian food at 7 o'clock in the morning. I could have a kotletas, like a Wiener Schnitzel or whatever, like at 7 o'clock in the morning with a beer, and no one gave any crap. Like, oh, we only have Starbucks right now. They're like, no, you want a beer and a whole cup? You go, big guy. I'm like, thank you.
You'd probably get the beers that early in the morning in Ireland as well.
Beers, but the food, the thing is the food. And that's one thing I notice airports are very different. Like in the U.S., it's all about eating, and airports in Europe mostly about shopping. And I had a TikTok that got 2 million views once because I was like, oh, I noticed all the shopping here at the airports in Europe, but I guess I must be from America because it's about food, and I show my fat belly or something. It's like a perfect little boom, there you go.
If you could only visit one country for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Aside from Ireland?
Aside from Ireland. We'll cut Ireland out of this.
I used to stick between France and Italy. I'd probably go to Italy because I have more friends there, so I can go see them.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Mark, it's been amazing being able to talk
Thanks,
to you. It's fantastic. I'm delighted, as I said at the start, to be able to get you on. It's amazing, the whole thing, the whole chat. I suppose before we wrap up, where can people find you and follow all your content?
So wherever you like your social media, you can find WoltersWorld, WOLTERS World, and we'll be there giving out advice, the do's and don'ts of travel in an honest way. So I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to trick you anything. I just want you to have the best time traveling possible.
Brilliant. Mark, thanks so much for joining me. It's been a fantastic chat. Hopefully we get to meet in person at some point, either in Ireland or in America. And
that'd be awesome.
I'll do Route 66 at some point.
There you go. Well, I appreciate having me on, Ronnie. You have a great day.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Mark. Have a good one.